Within media, across different time periods, the savior is a figure who rises against all odds to bring hope, redemption, or destruction. They are often marked with tragedy, greatness, and the weight of destiny. But what makes the savior in media, and what does it say about society when we center a singular character as one that will change the world? In this YouTube video, we will explore the concept of the savior through characters like Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars, Paul Atreides, Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, and Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, touching on the idea of sacrifice, religious iconography, and even the controversial trope of the white savior. If you like this video, please subscribe and click the like button for more videos like this. Part 1. The Savior Figure. Anakin Skywalker, Paul Atreides, and Daenerys Targaryen. Each of these figures represents a unique take on the savior narrative. In Star Wars, Anakin is prophesied as the chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. However, he has a tragic fall into darkness which complicates the notion of a pure savior, and the story reflects a dual duality of salvation and destruction, a theme central to many savior figures in media. In Dune, Paul Atreides is also marked by prophecy. He is the creation of the 10,000-year Bene Gesserit genetic breeding program, creation of the Kuzrat Hazarak, a prophetic figure who's destined to reshape the future of the universe. Unlike Anakin, Paul's journey reflects and questions the morality of saviorhood. He becomes a dictator of sorts, ruling the known universe in Dune with absolute power. Is salvation truly a benevolent force, or is it a part of tyranny? Daenerys Targaryen, much like Paul, is a ruler who comes with the promise to break the chains of oppression. She seeks and frees the enslaved and restores justice. However, her ambition and power ultimately leads to destruction, highlighting the perils of placing too much faith on a singular savior figure. Both Daenerys Targaryen and Anakin Skywalker, as well as Paul Atreides, all commit heinous and grievous crimes, such as the mass killing of hundreds of thousands of millions or even billions of people in Paul Atreides' case, in order to fulfill their destiny. Paul Atreides is a grey figure within savior methodology. The trope of a white savior was popularized in films such as The Lawrence of Arabia, which places a white protagonist in the center of non-white struggles. T.E. Lawrence in the classic film is presented as a key figure who brings unity and victory to the Arab revolt. The same issue occurs in Paul Atreides' journey into the Fremen. He becomes a savior of the desert people, but it turns out the prophecy that they believe in, Lisan al-Gaib, was something that was manufactured and created by the Bene Gesserit. He uses that prophecy and benefits from the oppression of the Fremen by using them in order to regain his own status and avenge his father. Similar to Lawrence, even though he may want to generally liberate the oppressed people, he's still a figure who benefits from the oppression of others. This is the essence of the white savior trope. It centers a white or privileged character while ignoring the agency and liberation of the group that is oppressed. Dune, as well as The Lawrence of Arabia, highlights the complex relationship between the colonizers and the colonized. The creator of the Dune universe, Frank Herbert, is often accused of being Orientalist due to his perceived perceptions of Arabs and Middle Eastern, as well as Berber and Amazigh people, and how they should act within their struggles and their cultures. He reflects that within the culture of the Fremen people, which heavily draws from religious and cultural symbolism. The concept of the Lisan al-Gaib, or the Mahdi, which is a prophesied redeemer in Islam, serves as an important influence on Paul's character. The Mahdi is seen as a figure who will bring justice to the world in Islamic theology. Much like Paul is seen as a savior by the Fremen who will bring them to a new era. This theme is not exclusive to Dune. The Chosen One is a concept within many different religions. The parallels are undeniable in every sense. Each savior media plays with this idea that to be a savior, you must sacrifice something, whether it be your own happiness, morality, or your life. Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender offers us a unique perspective on the savior archetype. Unlike Anakin, Paul, or Daenerys, he's not born into a prophesied role of power, even though you can argue due to his reincarnation that he's been reborn across multiple lifetimes, each one taking the mantle of the Avatar, he has been born to it, but it is more of a choice that's forced on him than a genetic reason. Contrastingly, all the rest get their statuses as saviors due to genetic meddling. Anakin is considered the son of the Force with no known father. Paul Atreides is a result of a 10,000-year breeding program to produce the Kwisatz Haderach by the Bene Gesserit. Daenerys is from a long line of Valyrian overlords who control dragons and have the power to command them, which nobody else within their world has. Aang does not crave leadership or glory, but instead he's forced into the role of the Avatar as a savior figure capable of maintaining the balance between the four nations. In the world of Avatar, he's considered the embodiment of reincarnation, a soul that has been reborn through multiple lifetimes, each time taking the role of an Avatar, the chosen one to bring balance and peace. Much like Anakin, except for Aang does actually achieve his goals with the least amount of possible bloodshed. Aang is modeled after many Eastern countries, such as Thailand and Tibet. He models their religious beliefs alongside his people, the Air Nation, as they are all pacifists and do not believe in violence solving any problem. He sticks to his principles, unlike Daenerys Targaryen, Anakin and Paul, and does not in fact become a dictator by the end of his narrative, which the rest unfortunately do. Aang's journey is marked through a constant struggle within his role as the Avatar. He did not ask for this responsibility. In fact, he fled from it as a child, terrified by the consequences of his duties. In return, he becomes trapped in an iceberg for 100 years before being freed by Katara and Sokka of the Water Tribe. His character reflects the idea that sometimes being the burden of the Chosen One isn't a blessing but a curse, as he is not a traditional savior who received the power because of some grand desire or a prophecy. He's a reluctant hero thrust into the cycle of endless responsibility. Unlike the white savior trope, Aang is not an outsider or an oppressor coming to save a lesser group. His identity reflects and is tied directly to the people he seeks to protect, as he is considered to be a marginalized group himself after the massacre of the entire Air Nation, leaving him the last living air nomad. As Aang reaches the climax of his journey, he's faced with an impossible choice: how to end the war without immediately resorting to violence, violating the last principles that his people left to him. He ultimately finds a way to defeat the Fire Lord without taking a single life. His solution represents his core philosophy: a savior doesn't have to be a destroyer. His story challenges the notion that power and violence are necessary for salvation. Unlike the traditional chosen ones in other forms of media, Aang's path is one of reconciliation, healing, and finding balance. In the end, the savior within media is a reflection of the consequences of power and morality, whether it's the tragic fall of Anakin Skywalker to the dark side, the tyrannical rise of Paul Atreides, the destructive path of Daenerys Targaryen, or the spiritual burden carried by Aang. These characters all represent the burden and the difficulties of being the chosen one. As we see these characters rise and fall, we are reminded of the fragility of heroism, the cost of destiny, and the complexities of salvation itself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, leave a like button, and leave a comment about what you enjoyed particularly about this video. Thank you.